Welcome to the Inspiring Tech Leaders podcast with me, Dave Roberts. Today marks the 1-year anniversary since I started this podcast series, and I couldn't be more proud of what has been achieved in the 31 episodes during the first season. The podcast is now listened to in 52 countries across the world. I'd like to thank all the fantastic guests that have appeared on the podcast over the last 12 months and provided outstanding insight and thought leadership. I'm now pleased to start season 2 of the Inspiring Tech Leaders podcast and look forward to creating the next 12 months of inspiring content. In the episode today, I'm going to explore how machine learning is making a difference to the way that we operate and develop new digital solutions and services. So let's start with defining what machine learning is. Well, it's a branch of artificial intelligence that focuses on the study of computer algorithms that can help improve automatically through experience and by the use of data. It is important because it provides us with a view of trends and operational behavior that can be adjusted to improve processes and scenarios. Machine learning can also create new knowledge from observational data. Machine learning is often broken down into 4 categories, these being supervised learning, semi-supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is task-driven and controls the data and variables that are both inputted into the algorithm for assessment and also the output that is expected, which is defined by identifying where correlations exist within defined data sets. This method can be very time-consuming though, because it requires a high level of interaction to label data and train the algorithm. Examples of supervised learning would include things like face detection or signature recognition, spam filtering, or speech recognition, for example. There is then semi-supervised learning, which allows algorithms to be trained on smaller data sets, but can then apply the same data labels to much larger sets of data. The analysis of images and audio is a common use case for when semi-supervised machine learning is applied. Whereas unsupervised learning does not require labeled data and does not have a desired outcome in mind, it is much more focused on data. Unsupervised learning can find hidden insight or patterns within the data being analyzed, and unsupervised learning is often used for anomaly detection or segmentation activities. Real-world examples of this could include identifying unusual transactions that could indicate instances of fraud, while segmentation with machine learning can help target particular customers that align with your products or services. Reinforcement learning, however, enables an algorithm to learn through both positive and negative consequences within a specific environment. An example where reinforcement machine learning is used is perhaps with automated vehicles. But why is machine learning so important anyway? Well, many of our leading companies such as Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Netflix, IBM, and Salesforce are all using machine learning to improve their services that they provide to their customers. Machine learning is helping organizations to understand their customers at a much deeper level. This is enabling companies that use machine learning to gain competitive advantage, as the algorithms are far better at predicting outcomes than humans, which means better performance and greater efficiency. Companies are able to target their marketing and tailor their product development to meet the customer demand. Machine learning is dependent on selecting the relevant learning models that aligns with the maturity and completeness of the data sets being used. It is important to ensure that the data being used is not unconsciously biased and should have appropriate checks and balances to ensure human interaction is required where appropriate. So, where do we start with machine learning? Well, it starts with an appropriate programming language such as Python, R, Java, or C++, and also having the relevant programming skills. Python is recognized as being the most popular and easiest programming language to learn when it comes to machine learning. You'll then need to select an appropriate library to use that will support the type of dataset that you'll be working with. You might wish to consider something like TensorFlow, which is a Python-friendly open source library developed by Google. TensorFlow supports machine learning and is particularly focused in deep learning, neural networks, and numerical computations. Obviously, there are many different types of machine learning algorithms that can be used, and it's important to select the appropriate algorithm for what you're trying to achieve. You need to identify where your dataset is going to be sourced from, and if it requires any cleansing before it can be used. Perhaps you're even using machine learning to improve the dataset that you'll be working with. However, more often than not, you'll need to select the segments of data that you want to use and then determine which of the 4 previously mentioned models is most suitable. It is important that you validate the output and repeat the training processes until you're satisfied that the model is providing relevant results. The final stage is to determine if you want to visualize the output from machine learning. If so, you can use tools like Power BI or Tableau or perhaps ClickView, to name just a few. to help present this data in a more consumable format. So with many different use cases for machine learning, it's not surprising it's in high demand with salaries that match that demand. Artificial intelligence and machine learning jobs have jumped up by 75% over the last 5 years, and demand still significantly exceeds the supply of people with the skills. The average salary for a machine learning engineer in the UK is between £55,000 to £60,000. A starting salary for a graduate is probably around £35,000. However, this can increase to over £100,000 for the most experienced machine learning engineers. Hopefully, this has provided a little bit more insight into the world of machine learning, provided some background to what methodologies, tools, and programming languages are used, and how much you can expect to pay to gain these skills within your organization. Please let me know what other technology topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of the podcast. And remember to subscribe and stay tuned for more inspiring tech leaders.